Joining me now on set is my NBC News colleague, Peter Nicholas, who is just tracking all of this for us. So, Peter, Democrats are sounding the alarm here. Republicans seem like they're sort of gearing up for what they think might be an election that they're considering to be stolen or rigged. They're going to claim that. They claimed it last time. It wasn't true. What do you know more about these efforts and really the battles that people are fighting already?
Well, you mentioned some of the lawsuits, and what Democrats see is a pattern here. And the pattern is what's connecting all these lawsuits is an argument that Republicans can make in the event that Donald Trump loses, and that's that the election was rigged, that was something happened that's untoward and raises doubts about a Kamala Harris victory. So this could potentially gin up Donald Trump supporters. There could be more protests. Democrats fear there could also be more violence, akin to what we saw on January 6th. So this is very serious, and it's also serious for another reason, too. There are poll shows there are grave doubts among the parties about whether our elections are fair, whether our democracy is working or it's broken. Republicans tend to be very skeptical about validity of these elections. So all these arguments about this process is flawed or this isn't working or that's broken in this state or this battleground can't tally the results properly, all that feeds these suspicions. And that's not a good thing for a healthy democracy.
And you break down not only what Democrats are sort of sounding the alarm about, but also how they're preparing for it. So tell us a bit about that reporting.
Well, Democrats say they've been preparing for more than 4 years, really. And they have literally hundreds of lawyers. They have in-house lawyers. They have lawyers in battleground states. They've got lawyers who have pre-written briefs in anticipation of arguments Republicans might make. So, for example, you mentioned Georgia, where state election board wants to empower local election boards, county officials, to decide on their own whether the election was valid, to conduct their own reasonable inquiry, which could slow things down. Democrats had pre-prepared briefs that they filed, so they're on top of this, and they're trying to see if they can nullify this and get a court to establish that certifying election results is mandatory. It is not discretionary.
Yeah, and as you bring up Georgia and you bring up your reporting, one of the quotes stuck out to me. You had an expert that said most of these local officials are supposed to do 1 + 1 = 2, yes. Not 1 + 1 = maybe bamboo in the ballots. Peter, of course, just the kind of quote that you would put in a great story. I wonder what you make of that and sort of what that means, that these local officials could be empowered to do that.
Well, that's exactly the problem, Yamiche, which is that our local officials really qualified to decide whether, the ballots are proper, whether the elections were held in conformance with regulations. All they're supposed to do, a local election board, is to say, this candidate got X votes, this other candidate got Y votes, and that's it. And so, we had another quote in the story from a Democratic official who was saying they just don't have the qualifications, the background, the investigative skills to conduct this kind of inquiry.
Yeah. I also want to ask you, how involved is former President Donald Trump directly in these efforts?
Well, what we know is Republican National Committee, in some cases, is filing some of these suits in coordination with, and some other local Republican groups are also involved. In some cases, individual Republicans are filing the suits. So, it just seems that we have Republican officials at the local or national level who have been involved, and Democrats are countering. The Harris campaign is working in some cases with local Democratic, state Democratic groups, and also with the Democratic National Committee.
Yeah. Well, definitely a situation that you are keeping on top of, and we're going to continue to be watching for your reporting, because this is, of course, going to be a very big deal now, but also, of course, in November. So thanks so much,
If
Peter.
we find bamboo on any ballots, Yamiche, I will tell you. We will report that.
Thank you so much, Peter. I appreciate that.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app, or follow us on social media.